Welcome back to our chicken house project. For those of you watching our channel, you know that this chicken house was built off of scrap wood from our barn that's falling down. And I've never finished our chicken boxes, so what I'm going to be doing today is actually building out our nesting boxes and the access to them. We would like to have the access on the outside. During the day, our chickens are not in the chicken house, they're out running around. But when we go places for a few days, we usually leave them locked up inside the chicken house and they have a little run out front. So we need to make sure that we're providing nesting boxes that have a clean space for them to lay eggs, deter them from trying to poop on top of that space. Right now there's poop up on the top of these crates because they'll get up here and then they'll poop on it and it gets on the eggs and it's kind of gross. Try and design something that will entice them to want to go in there to lay, keep them from perching on top or perching in, and keep our eggs clean for us. And then I'm also going to create an access point on the back side here. We do clean out the floor of our chicken house regularly. It's really not that bad if we put pine shavings down to help collect things and scoop them up, but still pretty gross. If I'm coming out in flip-flops, I don't want to go walking into the chicken house to collect my eggs. I'd rather come out here and just flip something open. So with these nesting boxes, the first thing I'm going to do is focus on how I'm going to attach my openings, and then the next thing I'm going to work on is some sort of ledge system on the inside and boxes to keep them from interacting. With 20 chickens, right now we have 3 nesting boxes. One of the nesting boxes was the old nesting box from their old coop. It was designed for just a couple chickens. But the way that they've been acting, I don't think we have enough spots for all of the chickens, and as our younger chickens start laying, there's definitely not going to be enough spots. So this is an important step in our chicken house. It's designing enticing places to lay the eggs and easy ways to get the eggs without getting in all the nastiness. Alright, so let me get the materials that I bought. Now all the materials that I'm using for this, we did purchase a few materials, but we bought them all on consignment. So we're trying to remain with the standpoint of keeping this very cost effective. Right now I really don't have any money other than nails invested in the chicken house. So, you know, putting hinges up and little doors with latches, I mean, really, this is the hardware that's the most expensive thing. Even the wood that I purchased to help me with this part of the project was purchased on consignment, so it was pretty inexpensive. I'm actually pretty excited to see how this turns out once I'm done, but I need to get started on it. Stop yip-yapping. These boards are fence pickets. They're 6-foot boards, and they're pretty lightweight, which is why I like them for this job. And I'm going to be using these, go that way on this, and then I've got a couple decking boards. I like using decking boards because they're treated pretty nicely, that I'm going to screw these onto once I cut them. The great thing about this is that these boards were only about $1.25 a piece, and then those boards down, the 10-foot decking boards, were only about $5. So it's still a pretty cheap project, even though I bought those. Let me measure this. This is going to be my length. 9 foot 4 inches is the length. And what I'd like to do is have basically 3 openings along here. Because I'm not going to be building the 3rd opening right now, I'm just going to have 2. I'm going to do both of those in 3-foot sections. And then, excuse my tape measure, I can't find my tape measure. I always end up losing my tape measure. So I'm doing this with these. 1'6" puts it down at the bottom. 1 foot 6 inches. And then what these will do is we'll have hinges on here, and then they'll flop down and latch on this bottom piece here. So I need to cut these boards into lengths of 1 feet 6 inches each. make sure I want to do that. 1 foot 7 inches. We'll take it just a little bit further. I think I'm going to do this in 1 foot 7 inches so it just overlaps this bottom board a little bit. And then we'll figure out a way to attach my locking mechanism there. Alright, get started on cutting these. Basically, I'm doing 3-foot sections, so 6 of these planks will give me the length that I need on my decking boards. I've gone ahead and laid them out and marked where I need to cut, so I'll go ahead and cut these. Then I'm just going to screw these to those and everything should be good to go. Something that I didn't think about when I planned this is that my screws are 2-inch screws. I was originally planning on using 2x4s for the back pieces of this, and they didn't have 2x4s at the consignment shop that were in worthy state of this project anyway. So I didn't get 2x4s, I got decking boards. The decking boards are just a tad bit too thin for the 2-inch screws. So I've cut kind of 2 more pieces of decking board, and that way I can drive these screws in and they won't be sticking out on the other side. For some of you that might not be a big deal, but if you met my wife, that would be a big deal. So I fixed it. Let me see if I can find a screw. Driver head, Phillips, somewhere. You'll find with a project like this that using screws on things like openings, doors that you're going to open and close, they'll hold together a lot better than nails in the long run. So it's just good practice. I say it's good practice, and then you look at all the other things I do and you're probably like, what are you talking about? Nice to have them go up. Now I just have to figure out the right way to hinge this. Could I then have it swing out. I think I can if I cut that last piece. Yep. This is getting very sloppy. I hate perfectionists because I am incapable of being one. I've had to change the design slightly. I'm gonna have this door swing open this way.
What? No. You're gonna have to swing open how?
The other thing we could do is cut them in half and do smaller doors. But there's not a good way to hinge it on.
Maybe just cut it in half and do smaller doors and just do 2 for now. If you have to have them swinging sideways.
So I've got 2 of them on. The original plan was to have them kind of either go up or come down on the hinges. I ended up doing them to the side. I kind of like them to the side personally. I feel like I have a little more control if the chicks wanted to come out. We've got little latches on them. This latch didn't quite add up quite right. I might have to move that screw over a little bit. This one works very nicely. And I could just keep doing these doors all the way down, and that way when you open it up you have access to one of the nesting boxes, and we could just do one nesting box at a time and not have to worry about chickens flying out of the coop, because they'll try and fly the coop, especially when we're trying to keep them in there. Anyway, it'll work. Fancy schmancy little chicken coop out of scrap, huh?